My emotional well-being is so precarious that I've made the calculated decision to live with my therapist just for ease of access and help. Well, that's not exactly true. I do live with a therapist, but she did not become a mental health professional until we had already been married for 20 years. So I didn't choose to live with my therapist, but I am always in close proximity with one. I'm not entirely convinced that me, being me, was not a primary contributing factor to her choice to study abnormal psychology. As a result of her vocation, I am regularly in conversations about problematic issues within people and in relationships. I cannot help but think about all of those things in light of my ministry vocation and the problems that seem to be plaguing myself and my colleagues. My first impulse is to say that the reports only make the problem seem more prevalent than they probably truly are. It isn't that bad, at least I want to tell myself that. It's probably more like the old journalistic cliche, if it bleeds, it leads. That's why we hear so much about it. I've generally believed that to be the case throughout most of my ministry life. A few bad situations get blown up and generalizations are made. But honestly, I'm reevaluating that perspective. While there are many unrealistic and unreliable statistics and studies that are often floated to create extreme headlines about ministers, it does seem likely, though, that we as ministers may be more prone to certain imbalances in our thinking and feeling world. Two of the most obvious that seem to be genuinely problematic in our context are the struggles with narcissism on the one hand and codependency on the other. The most conservative numbers seem to indicate that ministers exceed the rate of these struggles in comparison with the general population. Now, it isn't that every minister has this struggle, but I can create pretty long lists in both categories in my own mind, with myself included in at least one of those two lists. I'll let those of you who know me well try to figure out and diagnose me which list I belong in. You may not be fully diagnosable, but ministers often have subclinical levels, but still elevated indicators for these unique challenges. I've often wondered, are we drawn to the roles of ministry because of these areas of brokenness within us? Or does ministry just simply exploit existing cracks in our character and surface otherwise dormant tendencies? Regardless, the need for power, admiration, and validation that drive the narcissist, and the low self-worth, identity loss, and emotional suppression of the codependents are ministry killers. As leaders in the kingdom of God, our emotional health and resultant behaviors impact so many people. You can be whole. You can experience the shalom, the peace, the wholeness of God. But it starts by asking God to help us to take deep, long, and honest looks into the recesses of our souls, seek deeper honesty with ourselves and with God. Open ourselves to spiritual formation that goes beyond just simple performative behaviors and habits and moves into places of deep and genuine transformation. Seek out the necessary friends, mentors, and spiritual and emotional guides to help us to be better. The kingdom needs a healthy you. But even more, Jesus died for you to be whole, not just productive.